So now what I'll do is introduce David Kidder. David, I'm not sure where you went. Why don't you come on up? So David is kind of a serial entrepreneur. He has a number of different companies he has started in the last couple decades, a number of successful exits, including Clickable. He's now also an angel investor, and most recently, the author of The Startup Playbook. And this is a very interesting book. If you have not got the chance to pick it up and read it, lots of different dynamics of startups, everything from seeking funding to product development to organizational issues and culture and how all that changes as you go through many stages of an organization. And it's really set around a number of vignettes with leaders in the space. Tony Hsieh at Zappos, Reid Hoffman from Greylock and LinkedIn. The list goes on and on. Elon Musk from Tesla. So David, I'll let you get right into it. You have your slides loaded up, I believe, and I'll join you back on stage after your presentation. So please join me in welcoming David.
Thanks.
Thanks, David. So why don't you take a seat? We'll do a few questions before we move on to our next segment. So a question about the current startup environment as you see it. It seems like barriers have really lowered in a lot of ways. Capital requirements, over the last 5 years, especially in the mobile world where kind of building mobile apps have less capital requirements. Technological requirements in some ways. You have tools like Amazon Web Services and things like that. So is this a good thing in that it's giving a more fertile environment, or are there bad parts about it in that, less than vetted companies are kind of coming out of the woodwork, and you see a lot of pivots for that reason? Are the barriers too low, I guess is my question.
Listen, so pivots are good, right? So let's describe real quickly what a pivot actually is, in my opinion, right? So a pivot would be, my idea, my company is a heat-seeking missile going to a target, right? A pivot is the navigation of the landscape on the way to that target.
Got it.
So if I move the target, I got a different business. But if I navigate my, missile on the way there, you're kind of stupid not to, right?
Right.
So people think pivot's bad. You're an idiot not to pivot, right? So the point you're addressing actually is about just the volume of ideas.
Yeah.
I think volume ideas is very good. What's bad about volume ideas is actually keeping zombie ideas alive.
Yeah.
And so the danger in that is actually the high quality ideas are starved of talent.
Yep.
So if you can concentrate talent on a highly vetted method of selecting them, the ones that actually create the economic oxygen, then you have a great chance of building an ecosystem to be successful. Just imagine yourself describing to your kids 20 years from now what you did to create your wealth. Yeah. They're not going to be amazed or surprised at all. It'll be completely obvious. So get over yourself. Create something that creates economic oxygen, create value, and concentrate talent.
Mm-hmm. Now, the volume question also comes into play in the next question, then we'll move on to the next segment. But, this question might be answered by everything you just showed us. But speaking as an investor, you're an angel investor. What is some of your investment criteria, kind of with that hat on?
I'm not very good at it, but it's very ironic and totally classic that all my biggest bets have all been like with the most famous people and have all failed the fastest. But the best bets I've made were because I've made investments in teams that were like watchmakers.
Sure.
They were obsessed. They go back to the innate point. Mm-hmm. They just they're born to do this.
Sure.
Whatever rabbit hole they're going down. So I spent a lot of time thinking about my team and the things I invest in around the innate question. And looking, in their past, I asked two great interview questions. One is, what about in your last job did people most misunderstand about you? Yep. It's a great question, by the way, because then they'll tell you why everyone thought this was a jerk or not, right? Right. And they tell you, you'll kind of get an idea of their innate. And the second one is on a scale of 1 to 10, which is, how lucky are you a person and why? Yep. And they'll start to describe these things in a way that they ask all the illegal HR questions that gets around them. And they'll tell you, and you can start to get an idea around what their true gifts are. And the faster these companies can indicate those and concentrate the talent, whether it be a single investment or team, you get to the answer fast.
That's great. So we're going to hear a lot more from you because you're going to stick with us.